aging is a bit of a tricky beast. And you'll often hear women complaining about the pressure that they're under to continue looking young and presentable and all of that. Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, there's scientific bases for it, female neoteny and so on, but that's boring and not particularly funny or interesting to talk about necessarily. But we don't talk about how men are under pressure, and the men's pressure is to grow old gracefully. You're supposed to just kind of let it happen. And this is supposed to be a good thing, really, for us, that we can just let it go, while women are under so much pressure to keep looking young. This is all very well if you happen to age into being a silver fox, and it's not so good if you've apparently been caught in a teleporter pod accident with a vulture and slowly transform over time. I don't think women appreciate that men miss out on all that good shit that they get to avoid looking old, whereas men hardly have anything to help them face the ravages of time face on. There's nothing to back us up, there's nothing to support us in this endeavour. It's luck more than anything else. I mean, women have it all. They've got God knows how many creams and potions and lotions, surgery, special clothes. Men hardly have anything, and what they do have, they mostly don't use due to pride and it somehow being some sort of weakness. And the rest of the things they wouldn't use even if they were available for the same reasons. There's push-up bras, but there's no equivalent for the dangly parts of the male anatomy, and supportive briefs tend to be looked down upon by any female company that happens to get down to that layer, despite them being supportive. So as you age, your meat and two veg slowly start to resemble a time lapse of a melting wad of chewing gum, slowly pulling down, never quite snapping, thankfully. Wrinkle creams, you get, how effective any of them are. Most experiments seem to suggest that they're not as effective, or they're only as effective as any other moisturising cream, so I'd save yourself some money there. But men are expected to get wrinkly, but they're expected to get wrinkly in certain acceptable ways, and this has to just happen. So smile lines are okay. Others, not so much. I saw an advert the other day for sexy incontinence pants for women. Sexy incontinence pants. A sexy nappy for women. The idea of any product for men who are incontinent being sexy just doesn't seem to work. You've got Spanx, push-up bras for your ass. The only time you should really lift and separate your buttocks is in preparation for anal sex, but still, there they are. Hair dye. There's a panoply of hair dye aimed at women. Men get just for men, and it's cheesy old-style adverts. And what amounts to a pen for colouring in your beard. Pro tip, Sharpies are cheaper and much longer lasting than that dye, and you can use women's hair dye too. Women aren't allowed to be bald, but they are allowed to wear wigs without it being necessarily an object of ridicule and so on. Some even wear wigs on purpose when they go out clubbing and so on. For men, not so much. Hairpieces, wigs, whatever else it might be to use to arrest your male pattern baldness, not allowed to get away with it, and it gets pointed out. Just look at how Trump's hair is an object of ridicule the world over, and yet he insists that it's real when it obviously isn't. So the greatest advance in men's hair care has not been potions or scams to make it grow back. It has not been dye. It has been that it has become acceptable to be fully bald, so at the first sign of baldness you can and should shave your entire head. You're allowed to be bald, you're allowed to have hair, but all points in between are verboten. It's cosmetic surgery, and men that undergo that tend to end up looking like wax dummies or aborted taxidermy experiments. And the women, yeah, it can go too far, but for the most part there seems to be a lot of expertise and effort into making sure it doesn't. You know, you've got breast implants, Botox, liposuction. You're not putting Botox in my scrotum, right? And there's no efforts made to tighten and smoothen the balls in any such way. And even if there were, I think men are too squeamish to do that. So this growing old gracefully myth continues. So women, you get all these wonderful things that hold back the clock, and we're just supposed to take it or ignore it. But getting old is only ignorable for a while. There's that senior moment where you just are forced to confront the fact that you're no longer the young buck that you once were. Maybe you realise that you just finished a whole chapter of a book while you were squatting on the toilet. I've always resented going to the toilet. It feels like a waste of time. So as I get older and I tend to spend longer, it feels like it's even more of a time thief. I hate it. Maybe you throw your back out lifting something moderately heavy. Maybe you go into a room and forget why you're there. Maybe you start snoring like a bastard. Sometimes it's something even more horrific. And men are good, generally, at the whole stiff upper lip thing, even if they're not aging gracefully. Men retain a kind of cat-like dignity despite it all. You know, when a cat falls off something, they look like they meant to do it and carry on, and men can do a similar thing. But I defy any man to retain his dignity and composure when he realises to his horror that things have depended to such an extent that he has just shat on his own bollocks. Zang. Postmortem Studios. Role-playing games and a lot more to die for. Post-mort.com